What's good, internet? Jake here, dumb as ever, and the Transformers is my favorite toy franchise for many reasons. The compelling characters, awesome battles, and interesting lore are huge parts of why I love these converting robots. But the main reason is because of the toys. Transformers toys by definition are some of the most unique and interesting ever. They literally change from one toy to another toy. Often from a robot to a vehicle like a car, jet, boat, you know, that sort of thing. They're robots at war after all, so they generally need useful alternate modes. But there are many Transformers that turn into things that are completely bizarre, or just outright useless in a combat scenario. So in today's video, I want to explore the weird world of Transformers alt modes, and show you the weirdest ones I could find. There's 40 years of Transformers history, so this is by no means a complete list. If there are any I missed that you want me to cover in the future, please let me know in the comments. But if this video is your sort of thing, please consider liking and subscribing. It ain't extra. Before we get into the out there weird stuff, I think it would make sense to talk about the first line of Transformers toys, called Generation 1, because if you're unaware of it, you might not realize how weird Transformers was right from the jump. There were several Transformers that just turned into objects, like Soundwave, who became a cassette player with his minions turning into cassettes that can store in his chest. In G1, Transformers had an ability called mass shifting, which allowed them to become bigger and smaller as they transformed. So Soundwave wasn't a gigantic cassette player. When he transformed, he'd be a normal size, while Megatron just outright transformed into a handgun, which could be wielded by anybody, but usually Starscream. I know these facts sound obvious, and to a longtime fan like myself, they don't even sound that weird, but I've had non-Transformers fan friends be shocked to learn that Megatron turned into a gun. Another fun object transformer is Reflector, which is 3 individual robots that combine into an old-style camera, as well as some later characters like Perceptor, the Autobot scientist that becomes a microscope, and there was also Blaster, Soundwave's rival that turned into a boombox and had his own cassette minions. As the series went on, they started getting weirder with the products, mostly with the new gimmicks to entice kids to add new toys to their collections, like the Headmasters, don't laugh, who are little guys that transform into heads, while the vehicles they pilot become larger robot mode bodies. I've never really understood the Headmaster gimmick outside of it being a toy thing, but it is kind of cute. It is fun to have a little guy pilot the vehicle, I can't lie. Even more bizarre were the Pretenders, simple Autobots and Decepticons that came with plastic shells to hide the robots. The Decepticons took the form of gruesome monsters, like Skullgrin, who became the skull-faced orc thing, while the Autobots became just fellas, just the guys. Pretenders are truly some of the weirdest Transformers toys out there, but we're just scratching the surface here. Let's move into what the franchise became after G1. Optimus Prime is the icon of the Transformers. So many people love the character and what he stands for. He's on par with Superman and Spider-Man as an idealist character. And as a result of being the icon of the brand, he's been used for many weird products. Mostly in the form of weird brand collaborations. Like, have you ever wanted an Optimus Prime that transforms into a Canon digital camera? No? Well, there is one, here it is. And his camera mode is actually very realistic and convincing, though it's smaller and lighter than a real one. But it has all of the little details you'd expect from a Canon digital camera. The transformation into robot mode is pretty interesting. The way it all folds up and together seems satisfying, though I can't say the result is amazing. He has a giant camera lens as a stomach and it looks ridiculous. I do like that he comes with a little version of the camera he transforms into to hold though. That's always fun. And the matrix that goes in his chest is a fun inclusion that looks a bit awkward. The camera lens on his forehead is also a nice touch. This mold was also used to make a Reflector, which makes sense as he's the OG camera transformer. And it was also used to make a Nemesis Prime because black and teal is always cool. In the theme of technology, we also have the Optimus Prime Power Bank, which is a real working power bank that also happens to transform into Optimus Prime. He even comes with a sword that glows when you plug it into him. This is such a silly thing to exist. What's next? A phone that transforms into And it already exists! This is the Infobar Optimus Prime, which is based on the original phone by AU, a Japanese service provider. This is a classic handset mobile phone from 2002. The Infobar is very stylish with its red and white look, which is based on koi fish scales and is the signature look of the Infobar. This is an important and well-loved phone in Japan. Mobile phones were super popular in the country, and the Infobar was designed to be a very fashionable, forward-thinking mobile phone that also had PDA functionality. Moving back to the Optimus Prime version, this figure came about in celebration of the Infobar's 15th anniversary. What's crazy is that this Optimus and 3 other versions of it were actually crowdfunded through a Japanese website in 2017. This Optimus has the iconic Nishiki Goi color scheme, and I gotta say he doesn't look too bad. I think the cell phone mode looks spot on to the real Infobar, and the robot mode looks well articulated, if a bit blocky in some areas. Unfortunately, he doesn't work like a real phone, but it can be tied to your phone via Bluetooth and will act as a notification alarm, which is kind of charming. There are 3 other figures using mostly the same mold. One is another Optimus Prime, this one being a reference to his movie version for the 10th anniversary of the first film. The other 2 are Megatron and Bumblebee. It's wild to think that there was a Transformers crowdfunding thing before HasLab, and it was for this. The next Optimus is incredibly strange. It was made in collaboration with the G-Shock, the watch company. His alt mode is kind of just a stand for the watch, or if you just want the toy, you can get a version that comes with this watch-looking matrix, which actually looks a lot cooler to me. The robot mode actually looks really cool as well. The watch is included in the transformation, so it becomes his chest piece. But again, the matrix piece looks much better to me. He just looks really unique and stylish. Of course, there is a Nemesis Prime version as well, which yeah, that deco works amazingly on this figure. In contrast to the very expensive watch holder Optimus, we have an Optimus that turns into a ballpoint pen, which looks mega uncomfortable to use for a long time. Even a normal pencil hurts my delicate fingers. We also have Optimus Prime that turns into a damn shoe. A Nike shoe to be specific. These come in little shoe boxes, which is adorable. The shoe is much smaller than you might think, so unfortunately you can't wear him. Plus all the robot bits inside would make that kind of hard. But the look is good, and the robot mode looks cool for the most part. He does have some insane shoe kibble hanging off of him, but I do like that he's wearing Nikes in robot mode. There's also this alternate Tigatron looking deco, which I like too. This last Optimus isn't really that weird. I think it's mostly cool as hell and just wanted to talk about it. It's a collaboration of Transformers, Zoids, and Diaclone, the 3 main brands of Takara Tomi's T-Spark line of figures. This Chimera features Shield Liger, which can be piloted by a Diaclone figure and transforms into Optimus Prime. This toy is appealing to a very specific type of person, and that person would be me. The next few entries also feature Optimus Prime, but also other guys too, like the Bear Brick figures. Bear Brick is a Japanese collectible art toy, meaning they're expensive as hell for no real reason. The Bear Brick Transformers actually look decent though. The Bear Brick mode looks exactly like the actual toys, and the robot mode looks fairly good too. I do like that they gave the robot mode head little bear ears. We have Bumblebee and our court-mandated Optimus, but the boy Starscream also got a Bear Brick, which is fun. Starscream doesn't really get in on these weird collab figures usually. I also like his evil smile in both modes. We also have the Hat Transformers, which are a part of the Capbot line, a collab with the New Era Cap company. The caps themselves are tiny as expected, but just fun as a novelty. The Optimus Prime for this is literally named Captimus Prime, while the generic Decepticon is called Capticon. I like that they're both wearing little hats. I think it's fun that most of these collab figures feature little details like hats or shoes being added to the characters. The design of the robot mode is pretty unique as well. They look like buff little guys, and the brim of the hat makes up their feet. I was reminded again of the Capbots recently because of the new football helmet Transformers. I actually bought one out of pure curiosity, and I think he's alright. It turns into a cute little football helmet, and the robot mode does have the vibe of a football player. I'm surprised they haven't announced more helmets yet, but I think I'm good with just the one I got. Growing up, I had the PlayStation 1, so the Optimus Prime that transforms into a PlayStation is a really cool conceit to me. It may be one of the few collab figures I'd actually be interested in, but unfortunately I've heard he's a bit of a floppy mess. I think I'm mostly into his PS1 mode, but I already own a real PS1, so why would I need that? Opposite of Optimus, we have Megatron as the Sega Genesis. I didn't grow up with Sega anything anything, so I don't have a nostalgia factor for this one at all. But like the Optimus, it's cool that Megatron turns into a game console. He even comes with a little copy of Sonic the Hedgehog. There's also a version of this Megatron that transforms into the original Japanese version of the console, which is called the Mega Drive. And a Mega Drive Megatron is just a cool name. Speaking of Megatrons with weird alt modes, we also have Robots in Disguise 2001 Megatron, who had 6 different modes. Though since Hasbro used the second version of the Japanese toy for the American release, he actually had 10 different modes to transform into. A lot of them look decent enough, though the dragon-themed jet is my favorite. The most bizarre of these is a literal hand. Yeah, he just transforms into a big ol' hand for grabbing and other activities. We also have this weirdo called Megatron Megabolt. This toy ended up in the Robots in Disguise line, but it was actually meant for beast machines. I remember seeing this and being so confused on what he even is. But it turns out he transforms into a spaceship that looks like a giant head. Still pretty bizarre in terms of Megatron toys, but it does have a fun feature where you can plug Megabolt into Fort Max, replacing his head as if Megatron took over his body. In 1996, the Transformers brand would be totally shaken up by Beast Wars, a series that traded vehicle modes for animal modes. And while hated at the time of its release, it has become an iconic chapter in Transformers history, with 30 years of fandom behind it. Though you wouldn't know that with how little Hasbro is acknowledging it. They would rather glaze Transformers the movie again. But anyway, being that the robots now turned into animals, a whole new world of possibilities arose in terms of alt modes. There were always some beast modes, just look at the Dinobots, but they were also always mechanical beasts, while the Transformers of Beast Wars turned into organic beasts. The series started off with relatively normal animals, but just like G1, as the series went on, they had to come up with new eye-catching ideas, which resulted in the bizarre Fuzors, which were fusions of 2 different animals, like Airhammer, who turned into a half-shark, half-bird creature, or Quickstrike, a scorpion with a cobra for a tail. I gotta give them credit. Hasbro did recently put out a pretty great update for this character. I have no complaints and the snake articulation is great. A scorpion with the cobra for a tail is just a cool idea. And Quickstrike has a lot of character. The freakiest of the Fuzors is easily Injector, who transforms into a combination of a hornet and lionfish, creating an utterly weird monstrosity. Even his robot mode is weird, with Injector having a big fish head around his face like a hat. Beast Wars actually had several Japanese exclusive toys and shows, where they told new stories with the new characters. Beast Wars Neo had the most creativity, introducing characters like Magmatron and Big Convoy. Magmatron in particular is made out of 3 separate beasts. He has this weird Chimera mode, which just looks wrong. We also had Dead End, who turned into this cool squid thing, but the weirdest has to be Heinrad. He turns into the folklore version of a tanuki, but he's also a working clock, which is fun. The robot mode is also pretty cool. I like the flip down visor. But what makes him weird is that, well, sorry to be crass, but he has testicles. Tanukis are known for having giant nuts, and well, so does Heinrad. Though they're not hugely noticeable, they are there, making Heinrad, to my knowledge, the first and only Transformer with this particular piece of biology. And hopefully it stays that way. Our final and weirdest alt modes come from Transformers Botbots, a line of small collectible figures, which were probably made to compete with all the other small collectible figures. Botbots are little Transformers that turn into, well, anything. They all live inside a mall and don't have traditional factions. Instead, they're all grouped into tribes based on their alt modes. Though there are some references to the original series, like this Botbot that turns into a toilet paper roll, which has little Autobot insignias on it. I'm going to be honest, I completely ignored Botbots. I bought a couple when they came out, but since they were sold as blind bags, I kept getting the stupid book one. I really wish I had paid attention more, because some of these guys are really cool. I love the rubber duck Botbot named Quackles, and Bankshot the pinball machine is awesome. While there were a lot of great figures in this line, there were also plenty that were just utterly bizarre, like Unhandy, who literally transforms into a glove.
Is it okay if I touch you?
Not weird enough? Okay, what about Bobby Blue Jean? Great name, by the way, who turns into a pair of overalls. I don't know, something about a sentient pair of overalls is funny as hell to me. Besides random objects, there were also some Botbots that turned into pets, which is an idea I love, but I don't know, they somehow made all of the pets freaky. Like, this guinea pig just weirds me out.
Is it okay if I touch you?
And the rat has a similar vibe. Like, that just looks like a man in a rat costume. The dog transforms into this cursed Roblox skin, and the cat opens up to just reveal an entire old lady on the inside. Like, what are we even doing here? Now, like most modern toys aimed towards kids, there is a lot of potty humor in this line. We already discussed the toilet paper guy, but it gets much, much worse. Apologies if you're eating during this next part. We have Nope Soap, a Botbot that becomes a very well-worn piece of soap. He even has dark stains and scratches on him, leaving a lot to the imagination. If we're talking toilet humor, we should discuss the actual toilet, Dumpy Downer. This toy is crazy because they literally gave him a brown head, and he's the only Botbot I've ever seen equipped with weapons. Bro is actually fighting for his life. Sadly, Dumpy Downer was actually cancelled, but the mold did get released with this ugly repaint later. We have to give a mention to Vomit Comet, a literal pile of vomit that transforms into a little alien. The alien is cute. I wish he wasn't attached to like a pile of vomit. And now we have our Avengers level threats. Loose Deuce transforms into a pile of poop. Wow, hilarious. The comedy gods really cooked on this release. He is also dressed like Where's Waldo in robot mode, which I'm also confused on, but whatever, man. And finally, we have our most disgustingly weird Botbot, which transforms into an actual bag of dog shit. It is literally overflowing with excrement. Absolutely vile, and we need to have a discussion with whoever designed this thing. Overall, I do think Botbots are a fun idea, and maybe they can come back someday, though I think they should try to tie in with actual Transformers lore a bit more. Well, that was weird. Transformers is an amazing franchise because we have both Fire Truck Optimus Prime as well as an actual pile of shit, and they both boil down to being a robot that turns into a thing. That's beauty, that's magic, that's Transformers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you'd like to support me further, I have a YouTube membership and Patreon. For $1 a month, both give you the same thing. Access to my backlog of exclusive members videos, as well as my new podcast where I interview other content creators about YouTube and toys. My first episode with Diamond Bolt just came out, so go check that out if you haven't. Oh, and you also get an invite to my super chill Discord server. Alright y'all, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.